This old versus new has been a very long time in the making for me because I really held off getting the Legacy Leader Class Blitzwing. Because I have voiced in the past, I don't really like Leader Class when it's just a Voyager Plus. And Blitzwing was especially one of those that just had silly stuff added to it that I just was really struggling to justify the $55 price. So I held out. I played the waiting game, and I got the Legacy Blitzwing for a little less than the price of a Voyager class. Now, is it more than a Voyager class? Absolutely. Is this Blitzwing way more substantial than the Titan's Return Voyager Blitzwing? Absolutely. But both of these Blitzwings have been pretty widely available. I mean, the Titan's Return one was at Ollie's for a while. And, you know, this one, not only was it in the original Legacy, but it also got repacked for Legacy Evolution. So this Blitzwing is pretty much everywhere in stores, and I got it for like $34 on Amazon. So, I mean, both of these Blitzwings are pretty available, and Blitzwing is one of my favorite G1 characters. I think Blitzwing is awesome, and I was really happy with the Titan's Return one. And before I started filming, I did actually transform the Titan's Return one into both of the modes to kind of, number one, refresh myself, and number two, kind of just to get a little bit of a preliminary idea on how I felt about both of these figures. And man, this video is not super clear cut. Both of these are pretty solid. I do think I have a favorite. I do think I have a favorite of these two, but they're both very nice. Let's just get into it. I decided to start in the jet mode because typically I always start in robot mode and then go to alt mode. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start in jet mode, probably go to tank mode, and then go to robot mode. So, since it's a triple changer, I figured we'd go ahead and, you know, get all this triple changing out of the way. So, the Titan's Return jet mode, I do have to say, is a pretty good jet mode. I do struggle to kind of have some of the things tab in, but overall it does work pretty well. I do have to say, though, I've been playing with my old Titan's Return Overlord, my leader class Overlord, and after playing with this guy too, the plastic quality in Titan's Return was not really that great, was it? I don't know, I feel like we're kind of spoiled with plastic quality nowadays, because the plastic used on this Legacy Blitzwing is amazing, but the plastic used here, I don't know, it just feels kind of cheaper. I don't know, like, it's still a good figure, it's still substantial, but another thing they did to kind of cut cost too, has all these foil stickers, which I know some people, they're okay with it. Me personally, I was always kind of on the fence. I felt like sometimes it was okay and other times it was kind of bad. But see, they pre-applied them. So sometimes they applied the stickers a little close to the edge and you could easily like peel them up or they weren't, you know, applied right. So the foil stickers, especially on this guy, a little dicey for me. I don't have the accessories on either of them. I'm not going to worry about accessories for the alt modes because they're not really relevant. You can see the tank is kind of curled up underneath, the treads are underneath, and the turret's underneath. I do think it handles the tank stuff a little better, just a little better than the new one. But I don't know, I think the new one might have a better tank mode. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I just kind of like how the treads curl up, and it just, yeah, it's always going to have bulk under the wings, but I feel like it's kind of more managed here. It does have the little cockpit, which I enjoy. You can actually get the little Titan Master Blitzwing guy in the cockpit, which I think is super cute. I really like that. And he can also be in the tank turret as well. Overall, it's a nice jet. It's a nice jet, just not a perfect jet to me anyway. The new one, it definitely has some junk underneath. It's definitely got some junk going on. And unfortunately, mine has a QC issue where this tab just does not tab in. The other one is super solid. Like, that tabs. Like, I feel it press in. But this one, there's just no friction. It is what it is. I might try to thicken the tab or something, or try to thicken the hole, but it just doesn't tab in. It's only really a problem in jet mode, when it just dangles. But overall, with the jet mode, it looks really solid from the top, and I love this dark purple. I think the purple and the color is a lot nicer on this one. But from the side, I don't know, like this bulk right here where the arms are looks fine, but just the treads kind of hanging down, I don't know, it just looks a little, I feel like it's spreading out a little bit too much. If it could have like gone in a little bit more, it would be okay, but I don't know, it's just a little bit too kibbly for me. And again, the tank turret's is kind of chilling down on the bottom. It is on a double hinge though, so you can actually have it more forward if you want. I don't really know what the instructions say. You know me, I don't really look at instructions. It's a toy. I toy it. I do what I want with it, but you do have that option. You can also like have this back the other way too if you want the turret to kind of look like an extra thruster. You have options. I do really like this mode, though. But I do think in jet mode, I think I'm going to give it to the Titan's Return. I just think overall it looks better. It goes together cleaner. I like the jet mode more on Titan's Return. So with that, let's get these guys into tank mode. So you know how I transform things. I just kind of do it. So I'm not going to show you the order of operations on how to get this done. But I do have to say the transformation on the Titan's Return is pretty involved. I can kind of understand why, for modern toys, Hasbro wanted to make Triple Changer's leader class. I can kind of understand, because there are a few aspects on this guy that kind of make me think, it could have been nice if it had a little bit more engineering, just a little bit more. But overall, it's not too bad. It's just a little over-ambitious. That's one thing it likes doing. This wing is just on a friction clip, and that just likes popping out. This mold was actually, I don't remember if it was a repaint or a pre-paint. I want to say it was probably a pre-paint. There was a Megatron of this mold, and I do actually have it. And I think the Megatron is actually pretty neat. Is it, like, perfect? No, it's definitely not a perfect Megatron. But it is pretty cool. And it definitely, does give me an alternative with this mold. It does exist as another character. One thing I do enjoy are how the little wings right there kind of slot in with the tank. I think that's pretty cool. I definitely enjoy that. But overall, like, once we kind of get this tank mode together, one thing about the wings just kind of fold up along the side. I think that's kind of hokey. It's just like, oh, the wings are here. Wow, there's the wings just right there. But overall, the tank mode's pretty solid. I like the tank mode. It does have the thrusters to the jet just in the front, and that always looked weird to me. So, it might not vibe with you, but it's not too bad. It's a decent tank mode. It's decent. But it almost looks like this should be the front. I don't know. It's kind of hard to interpret. It's an interesting tank mode, that's for sure. And then the tank mode for this one, I actually really enjoy. I think the tank mode for this is very successful. So let's just do what I do. Let's start untabbing things and go from there. Because that's just the easiest for me. That's just how my brain does transforming robots. So one interesting thing is the nose cone will fold up into that. And the nose cone is kind of hard for me to get out because it's like a softer plastic. I say as I get it out with no problem, but sometimes I have to take the sword and kind of wedge it in there. So that'll go up front, and then let me get these little thingies out. It is a pretty clean and quick transformation from jet to tank, especially for this new one. One thing I do enjoy a lot are how the wings like totally fold up into the leg. I think that is so nice on the new one. It's so clean too. Like, the leg is just totally wrapped by the wing, and it's just so successful to me. Here, let me just get all that in. There we go. It's just so clean. I just enjoy that a lot. So we're almost done, actually. We just kind of have to get the sides. They're on double hinges, so we need to get the double hinge moving right there. And then we get the sides tabbed in. And I love how the tread kind of fills in the arm too. I like that the tread isn't a part of the arm, but it kind of just wraps into the arm. I just think that's well done. And then this side, get the double hinge going. I said get the double hinge going. And I do want to emphasize, the plastic feels so much more robust on the new one. But again, it is a leader class price point, so we have to keep that in mind. It is pretty much a Voyager at the leader class price point. And we'll take this, flip the turret out, get that moved up. And I think the tank mode on this is really cool. I know some people have issues with the little jet turret sticking out, but I've got news for you. That's G1 cartoon accurate. So if you want accuracy, you can't really complain, because even if they make a masterpiece Blitzwing, that's gonna be there. And I actually kind of think it's cool. You can almost imagine like an actual pilot right there. And then, you know, the operators are up there. It does still have the thrusters in the back, which I think is actually kind of cool because it's almost like the tank has extra thrust. But overall, this tank mode is just so much more clean and coherent. I definitely think the tank on this, the Legacy, is a lot better than the Titan's Return. But the Titan's Return is still a pretty good effort. I like both of these, but definitely, you know, it is what it is. Now, I do want to point out some of the accessories on the Legacy leader, because they do influence the tank mode a little bit, depending on how much you care. And I guess we could do it here too. Oh, it's a gun. You can put the gun somewhere if you want. But anyways, this, you know, there's guns. This one comes with, if you want a gun up top, an extra gun, you can do that. But unfortunately, one thing Hasbro did to pad out the price, they included these big hand missile things. They included these. They can tab in somewhere. I don't know if you've picked up already, but I really don't like these, nor do I care about these. There's a million reviews out on YouTube of this guy if you want to actually see how these attach, but it's like, oh, it's a missile. They can go on this somehow. Whoa, it's missiles, big missiles. Whoa, these are trash. These are trash. You'll see them one more time in the video, but that's it. I just don't care. I literally do not care to even find where they fit. I do not care. And you probably don't either. So we're just going to move on. And if you care that much, you'll find another video that actually is like a full review of this guy. And this guy's been out for like a year. Come on, I'm sure you already know. All right, let's do robot. Let's do robot mode. So robot mode for the Titan's Return is pretty cool. I think the robot mode for both of them is actually fantastic. But again, I just have to emphasize, I didn't really realize how different the plastic feels on an old Titan's Return Voyager, especially BLITZWING. And BLITZWING was one of those that had a lot of... Oh, there goes the wing again. Had a lot of foil stickers, like especially a lot of foil stickers for this BLITZWING. So I feel like that is kind of something that definitely alters the quality perception, because he's got a lot of foil stickers, but it's still a good toy. Like, this is still a really solid BLITZWING, and I really enjoy it. And I definitely see where a lot of fans were like, I'm happy with the Titan's Return, I don't need the new one, especially leader class price. And honestly, yeah, I can really see why a lot of people are really happy with the Titan's Return BLITZWING, because it's a solid BLITZWING. You know, it's not perfect. I've already pointed out, like, the plastic's a little dicey, and it has, you know, a bit of an iffy tank mode, but it's a solid BLITZWING. You do have the option with these little wings, but I'm going to keep them down like that because that's the most, like, G1 cartoon accurate. The little wings down by his feet. This is a really fun mold, and it's honestly kind of surprising how long I kind of went without even playing with it. I don't know, it's not one I ever thought of taking off the shelf. I don't know, something about the Titan's Return era of figures. It's like, yeah, they're cool. I revisit Trigger Happy all the time. I revisit Overlord all the time. But BLITZWING, no, not really. I don't really revisit BLITZWING. Let's give him his guns, because he has gun. And he has sword. And the gun is, again, one of those kind of guns where it's like, oh, wow, we can put the little Titan Master in there. Isn't that amazing? But obviously, it's his head. And he does have, like, the toy design where he's got the purple face. If you want the actual, like, G1 cartoon-colored face, you'd have to get the Takara version. But I wasn't fussed enough to do that. So pretty much the last thing we do is plop the head on, and I think that activates the pillars that go on. Doesn't it? Because he's got, like, little head pillars. Doesn't plopping the head on do that? Come on. It does not. How do we do that? How do we do that? How do we act? Oh, there we go. We just press that button. Because he's got like little border head pillars, which it kind of adds to the look. I like it. So there's the Titan's Return and his robot mode. And it's a pretty nice robot mode. Again, it's got that kind of cheapy Titan's Return feel. It does feel a little cheapy, but it's still a pretty solid figure. I really enjoy this BLITZWING. Now, for the Legacy Leader class. And I really feel like this figure, like, as someone who was hating on this thing because it was a Leader class price point, I feel like the price point of this guy was almost, like, it was such a big detractor for so many people that it really, like, damaged this toy's reputation. Because this BLITZWING, in my opinion, is really good. This is a really good Blitzwing. I honestly think this is one of, if not Hasbro's very best triple changer they've ever made. I think they did an excellent job with this Blitzwing. I really, really enjoy it. And, like, I sometimes with triple changers, I find them kind of annoying, and I don't go back to them. But I've transformed this Blitzwing several times. Like, I really enjoy this leader class Blitzwing. But again, I just feel like it being a leader class figure at a Voyager size, you know, I don't think a lot of people are comfortable with that yet. And I feel like some leader classes are just a better value than others. And unfortunately, I still feel like this is one where the value at a leader class price isn't there.
Stop right there! It is I, Polar Boy, and I am here to corrupt this video file so J4 has to do the second half all over again!
Yeah, it is actually 2 days later now. Yeah, I went to edit my video and the second half got corrupted. So thankfully I don't really have to retransform everybody, I just have to partly retransform him. But yeah, I have to redo all of the robot mode talking section because my video got corrupted. Literally no idea why, it's never happened. Hooray, thank you, Polar Boy. Well, anyways, it's actually funny, I've gotten Polar Boy in between actually doing the first take and this take. Well, anyways... Let's finish transforming this new Blitzwing again, so we can go into the robot modes. So I don't remember exactly where I left off before it got corrupted, but I figured I would kind of redo this portion because I really want to make sure I highlight how much I love the head reveal and kind of the chest transformation for this new mold. Because you lower this, you flip this, actually you flip it this way, and I love how the chest comes together because it is just so awesome how this almost wraps around and just forms around it. Then the arms tab in really nice and secure up there, and here we go. Here is our Legacy Leader Blitzwing in his robot mode, and he looks great, in my opinion. He looks absolutely great, but he is missing a couple things. He's missing his giant hands. Yeah, I have to go over this again because he has the giant hands. Hooray! It's got finger articulation, and you can put them in the hand. And it doesn't even tab into the hand well, but he's got giant hands now. Hooray! I'm never mentioning these ever again. And I hate that I have to actually talk about them again, because, again, this is a second take. But here we are. Let's actually give him his proper weapons, because he's got his little sword, and he's got these guns. And one thing I love about these guns, you can mount them on the arms, you can mount them in the hands. I personally like just having him hold one of them. And he actually has some really nice storage on his back for the other guns. You could obviously put the sword back here as well. That was a little burp, by the way. Excuse me. But you can actually plug them in back here, and how the backpack is kind of molded, it fits the gun perfectly, so it's a nice little weapon storage. And you can also have them there in the actual tank mode, too. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice overall. So here is the Legacy Leader in his robot mode. And as we can see, seeing them side by side, the Leader is a little smaller than the Titan's Return one, but I really do have to say, this feels a lot more substantial, a lot more high quality. It's just a better Blitzwing to me. It just is. I really still do like the Titan's Return. I really do. But it's just, you know, kind of an odd thing for me that the Titan's Return Voyagers, I like them. I do. I do like the Titan's Return Voyagers. But they do have this problem where they just kind of have like this weird joint tolerance sometimes, and it does have like this very high texture feel, and of course it still has the stickers and everything. So I don't know, I feel like Titan's Return strong suit was like some of the deluxes and some of the leaders. I don't feel like there's many Voyagers from Titan's Return that were really outstanding. I would say probably one of the worst was Broadside. Ooh, I really hope we get a new Broadside, like a Commander class Broadside. That'd be pretty nice. But anyways, this Blitzwing's all right, you know. It's got some pretty good articulation. You know, you can move the head. If you do flip these down, you can move the head even more, but I'm not too worried about having those flipped down. I kind of like how it fills out the chest. It does have, like, universals at the shoulders, which are kind of interesting how those go together. And then he's got pretty standard articulation in the arm, nothing in the hand, nothing in the waist. But he does have, like, very stiff thigh rotations because the thighs are painted. so that always kind of makes the joint kind of stiff. And he's got these kind of odd, like, multi-hinged knees that sometimes, like, disconnect when you're trying to move them, but it still works all right. And he just has a loose little toe hinge. So overall, like, it's a good figure. It really is. But you can just tell, like, looking at this is a figure from the Titan's Return era, and this is a figure from the modern era. I don't know, man. I still love the Prime Wars trilogy stuff, but there's some that are really outdated. Some of them, like, fit in perfectly with the modern collection and everything, like Siege and onwards. Some Prime Wars stuff is still great, but some of it, the plastic's kind of odd, or, like, the stickers are odd. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I still do like this Blitzwing. I still do. And I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to keep this Blitzwing in my collection or just keep the Megatron, because I still want this mold in my life. That I know for absolute certain. But this is my Blitzwing. It really is. I love the look of it. I love the detail. I love the texture. I love how nice and firm it feels. Like his articulation, he's got a ball joint and a hinge at the head, which kind of gives him a lot of nice range for looking up and everything. One thing I love about that, too, you can actually take the turret on this one and have him actually shoot ahead, which is super great. And you can extend it, too, if you want. I think it would make more sense if we get that extended again. That'd look really cool. Yeah, check that out. That's just cool. That's just cool, dude. I like that. That's just neat. I'm happy this one can do this, because the Titan's Return really couldn't, so that is something to consider. You can also leave the tank turret like that if you want, because sometimes it is kind of long, but I do appreciate how it can collapse, because it makes it look better in the jet mode, as well as makes it look a little bit more tight in the robot mode. So yeah, he's got shoulders, which are pretty good too, kind of on universals, and it does have a cover, I guess, for the shoulder. And you can get an extra joint if you untab it, but me personally, I think it's fine without doing that. And then pretty standard in the arms otherwise. He does have wrist rotation. He does have waist rotation too, which is really cool. He has hip skirt armor, which is nice, and it moves out of the way. Universals, he's got a thigh rotation. He's got a nice solid knee joint. And he's got ankle tilt, which I think is great. Overall, he feels great, looks great. I overall really love his modes. I feel like his weakest mode is the jet, but overall, it's still pretty good. I think the only biggest issue with this guy is that he was just a little too expensive. You know, I feel like a lot of people looked at this guy, especially seeing the size of it next to the Titan's Return, and they were like, so you're telling me this is a Voyager and this is a leader? Nuh-uh. Like, that was my initial reaction. Seriously, I looked at the new one and I'm like, it's not worth it. It's too small, blah, 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 but it is a better figure. I feel like a lot of people overly critique this figure based on its price point of $55. And honestly, I'm coming at it from an angle where I didn't pay $55. I only paid like $34. So I'm looking at it from, I paid a Voyager price. And for a Voyager price, it's outstanding. If you can get this Blitzwing for like a deal, absolutely go for it. This is such a great Blitzwing. And this one's still nice. I still like this mold. If you're the kind of collector that is perfectly fine keeping your Titan's Return one, I don't blame you. But I just really like this one pretty much in every way. I think the only mode that this one does better is the jet. And I like them both, but they're both from different eras, you know? This is from Titan's Return, and it feels so Titan's Return-y. And this one is obviously from Legacy, and it feels so high quality. We really do get what we pay for nowadays when it comes to quality. At least for me, anyway. I don't experience a lot of QC issues, but I do have this QC issue where the wing's kind of floopy. Which one is it? Or has it, like, tightened? It's this one. Oh, yeah, I forgot. When you have the gun storing, it actually keeps that in place. That's actually kind of nice. But yeah, that's the floopy one right there. So it's like I do have one little QC issue, but it doesn't bug me too much. So it's something to keep in mind. You know, QC issues, modern day, pricing, blah, blah, blah. This is a very complex old versus new. So it's kind of irritating that I have to reiterate all these points again because my video corrupted. And I'm hoping I'm not really missing any points, because I feel like I probably rambled on a bit longer in my first take than I am now, because I feel like I've kind of reached to the conclusion. They're both really nice figures. I really like them. I just prefer the new one. It's just, it fits in with what we know now, and it just feels more like Blitzwing. And I love the plastic and the quality. It's just a shame that it was marketed as a leader class, and I feel like these stupid hand things are just an insult. Like, why? Why did they do this? They're so dumb. Anyways, I think I've pretty much said all I really need to say again. I really do enjoy both of these, but it's definitely not a clear-cut winner here. For me it is. I really do like the new one, but factoring in the price, like bang for your buck, the Titan's Return for the Voyager price back in the day, especially given how it went on Ollie's clearance. You know, it was an Ollie's clearance Titan's Return figure. You know, if you got it at Ollie's back in the day, yeah. Even though nowadays I do think it's like over 40 bucks on eBay, so actually if you look around, this one might be cheaper. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for a Blitzwing now and you don't have either of these, you might actually be able to get this one cheaper than that one. So it's ultimately up to you guys on this old versus new. Again, me personally, I love them both. I still want this mold in my collection in some way, shape, or form. I just don't know if it's still going to be Blitzwing. But I definitely prefer this. It just feels more solid. It just works for me better. Whenever I think of Blitzwing in my mind's eye, I think of this. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think about these guys down in the comments below. Me personally, I think they're really cool, but it's up in the air. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.